Hello everybody, yes, it's Thursday, it's time for some more Thursday fun time. Philip Schofield's favourite saying. Let me just sort myself out here. There we go, there we go. How are you doing? Let me put the microphone down now so it doesn't look so imposing. There we go, there we go. Hello everyone and welcome for me and Mr. TB the Bear. TB, I'd just like to point out before I start the show that Mr. TB is definitely more than 15 years old. Yes, he is definitely more than 15 years old. In fact, he's well into his 80s. Well into his 80s. He looks very, very young, I do admit, yes. So I just want to put that out there. He does look very young, but he is, I absolutely can confirm, over the age of 80. Yes, he was in Star Trek in the 60s. Captain Tiberius, yes, that was him. That was him. So yes, we're okay. We're all good. For me and Mr. Look, he's still got his bloody WTF1 sticker on, the little traitor. Look at him, look at him, look at him. Why are you supporting them now? Why are you still supporting them? Do you know what's happened? You don't? Oh, I better tell you then. Yeah, that's right. And then he stuck it. Yeah, 4 times. 4 times. And then he flipped her over and... I know. Shocking, isn't it? Bloody shocking. What are we going to do about it? Let's put TB down there. Oh, God, that's it. That's me gone from YouTube. Thank you very much, everyone, and good night. Let's go and see if there's anyone about. I'm a little bit late tonight because, unfortunately, the computer decided that it didn't want to work on Facebook again, so I've had to restart the computer and start again. All these problems. You're probably sitting there right now going, "Oh God, oh God, Hookster, just get on with it, for God's sake, just get on with it." Just go to the messages, see if anyone's about. There probably aren't anyone about. They've probably all decided to go home. No, I can't be bothered. Oh, look at that. As I say that, Matthew7657 is in the chat. He says, Dominic Orlando is the most beautiful Canadian man to have ever lived. There you go. There you go. Matthew767 says, is F123 really 69.99? Yes, I can confirm, Matt, it is. I've managed to get it for 59.99 from the game collection. Yes, not sponsored in any way, but you know, if they want to send me a few goodies, then please feel free to. But yes, from the game collection, I've got it for 59.99, but that is on disc, not on download. I know everyone complains about discs these days because it's like, oh God, have I got to get out of my chair and put this funny shaped round thing in the slot? I bet that's what Jake Nichols was saying the other week. No, have I got to go and put this in the slot? This is boring. This is boring. I've got to get out of my chair and put this. What if I want to play another game? What? I've got to get another disc out and put. Oh, no, I can't bother that. I'll just download them all onto a hard drive. Yeah, you can't beat an hard drive, can you, Jack? So yeah, there you go. On disc, it's $59.99 from the game collection. That's the cheapest I've seen it. I haven't really seen it. There used to be quite a rush to get the price down for the game before it came out. I remember last year's game, because I got last year's for 40. Because I actually look back on it, I got it for £44 on disc from the game collection. But this year, there doesn't seem to be that much competition. There's usually quite a few shops compete with each other to try and get the lowest price, but I haven't seen that this year. So yeah, $59.99 is currently the cheapest I've seen it for at the moment. Edward Hunter says, never mind F123, I think I'll buy a Lego 2K drive instead. Cheaper, and I can build my own car. I have to say, Edward Hunter, I will agree with you there. I was looking at the previews for that. I saw that trailer. That's a fantastic trailer I've seen for it. Yeah, it's about, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes long. And I looked at that and I thought, wow, this is so much better than anything Codemasters and EA are going to come up with, I think I might just rename my channel F1 Lego. Yes, let's call it F1 Lego, because I think this is the direction I'm going to be taking. Because I can't be bothered with all this simmy stuff and, oh my God, I just can't. I think I'm going to stick with Lego in future. I mean, I always loved Lego when I was younger. Now I've got older, I've sort of grown out of Lego, but I think I'm going to go back to it again. Yeah, I think I am. Can't beat a bit of Lego, that's what I say. Can't beat a bit of Lego. So anyway, I've got 2 topics on my thumbnail. And the first one, of course, is it's the Spanish de Galanda plea. Yes, the rain in Spain falls mainly on Dave's bald head. F1 2023 race points. Let's see where we all are at the moment before we go into Spain. F1 standings. Here we go. Let's have a look and see where everyone is. Then we can have a look at our predictions then, can't we? Here we go. Let's make myself a little bit smaller. Yes. Oh, yes, I consent. I consent to anything I do. So let's have a look at the scores on the door. No, I do not want to be sent messages. Go away. Let's look at the scores on the doors at the moment. Maxi Boy Verstappen, of course, is in first place. I heard on the Channel 4 commentary, David Coulthard said Maxi Boy. And I think I'm going to sue for copyright. I'm sure I was the first one to... Maybe I wasn't, but I'm sure I was the first one to say Maxi Boy. But anyway, I heard him say it and I went, oi! Oi! I'm waiting for the day when he actually says, my name's David Twat Coulthard. That'll be a thing. It really would. Anyway, so let's have a look at the points. Maxi Boy Verstappen's currently in the lead, obviously, with 144 points. Sergio Perez is in second place after his quite disastrous Monaco Grand Prix, of course, with only 105 points now. So the gap is definitely starting to get bigger between Max and Sergio Perez. We've got Fernando Alonso currently in third position with 93 points. Wowzers me trousers. He has really pulled that Aston Martin up by its britches and given it a good old fashion, hasn't he? That's probably what Jack Nicholls says. But no, he really has pulled that car out of the doldrums and come up with a fantastic result at the end. 93 points. I'm pretty sure some of his previous Formula 1 seasons he didn't get as many points as that, and we're only sort of 5 or 6 rounds in. So well, yeah, all right. Obviously the points have changed from the early days, but you get my point. Yes, you get my point. He's done very well in that Aston Martin already. I mean, I can quite see him being up in about 250 points by the end of the season. It's got to, if he continues on that form. Anyway, we got Lulu. Love you, Lulu. Lewis Hamilton in 4th position with 69 points. That's Lulu's favourite number. And his favourite sexual position, so I've been told. Allegedly. And George Russell is currently in 5th position with 50 points. So he's quite a way behind Lewis Hamilton. I was surprised at that. I thought actually George Russell was up there. But no, Lewis Hamilton is doing better than George Russell at the moment. Yes, everyone's having a go at Lewis, saying that he's not really on performance compared to George Russell. Well, the evidence is clear to the contrary. So because there he is. Look, 50 against 69. Then, of course, we come to the Ferrari duo of Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc. Carlos on 48, Charles Leclerc on 42. Those kind of points, middling in the 40s, is pretty much going to sum up, I think, the rest of Ferrari's season, to be honest. I think by the end of it, that's probably where Carlos and Charles Leclerc are going to finish in the final championship standings. I think Charles Leclerc is going to be 6th or 7th, and Sainz will be probably a little bit lower, maybe 8th, possibly. But yeah, so another disappointing season for Ferrari. And thank God now that all the Lewis Hamilton moving to Ferrari rumours have been squashed, because Toto, the man himself, said that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. So there you go. And then, of course, in 8th position, we've got Lance Stroll. Yes, with only 27 points. Now, clearly now we can see a huge gap between Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso. Huge gap. So what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can talk to a certain Canadian about this huge gap and see what he's got to say about it. Yes. But before we do that, we'll just look at the rest of the comments. Edward Hunter says, only thing that puts me off a little bit is the microtransactions, but they're mostly cosmetic. Yes, I get where you're coming from there, Edward. There's too many of those microtransactions going on these days. But if it's just a few little bits and bobs, it's not too bad, is it really? But when they start charging you for like gloves and helmets and sunglasses, it gets a little bit ridiculous. Edward says, Russell has a habit of messing up whilst ahead and then moaning over team radio for Lewis to let him through. Yeah, I have noticed that myself. I have to admit, he's starting to get into his moaning period as George Russell, yes. I do believe, though, that moaning period has always been there. I just think because he's, in a supposedly up the top of the grid running car, that it's coming out a lot more there, a lot more now than it was before. But I think it was always there. I mean, you've seen that team radio after the incident with Bottas, clearly blaming Bottas, and it was nothing to do with Bottas whatsoever. It was, it's outrageous, absolutely outrageous. And then he had to apologise, of course. So I think that sort of bullishness, that bullshittery, has been there from quite an early time in his career. But I say, because he's now in a top flight team, there's a lot more opportunity for more team radio as well, because nobody really hears team radio from everyone at the back of the grid, do they? Let's face it. When was the last time you heard a team radio from Nico Hulkenberg? Or just looking down the grid here, who else have we got? Oscar Piastri. Now, don't forget, of course, I'm watching highlights on Channel 4. I'm not watching Sky. But on my highlights, I've never heard Oscar Piastri speak a single word yet over the team radio. I've seen him in interviews, but I haven't heard it. So, yeah, nobody cares about those. So, yeah, because he's in a top flight team now, there's more opportunity for his team radio to get broadcast. And his bullshittery, I think, is now certainly coming to the surface more than it was before. Matthew 7657 says, why are F1 YouTubers spoiling Breaking Point 2 before it's released? Yes, exactly, Matt. And I was so incensed by that I actually sent a tweet to F1 EA Sports. Well, I can't even remember what the official Twitter is called now, because they changed it, haven't they? And I expressed my outrage. But let me see if I can find the tweet that I sent to them. Here it is. Right, so obviously, because not everyone follows me on Twitter, and I quite understand why. So the tweet I sent to EA Sports F1, that's who they are now, I said, letting the big F1 YouTubers play Breaking Point 2 is dumb. It's the one thing you could have kept under wraps until release date. And it is the one thing they could have kept to themselves. You're always going to get leaks of, videos of car handling, career modes. All of that is going to get leaked and put out a lot earlier online than anything else. But this Breaking Point 2, it's a complete contained story. They could have had that completely under wraps until release day, or the early release day, which I think is the 12th of this month, and then everyone could have enjoyed it. But no, they just couldn't. They just could not keep it to themselves. They just had to get that little bit more interest, that little bit more revenue hit that might get from people watching the videos and go, oh, I like that, I'm going to buy that game, I like that a lot. Yeah, and so it's just ridiculous though. I also said, now the excitement is gone, this is the worst decision of releasing Grid Legends 7 days before GT7. I still stand by that as well. If anyone, I've got so many people now, because if anyone doesn't know, Grid Legends is now free. It's the free game of the month on the PlayStation Store. And I've got so many people now leaving me messages saying, here, this Grid Legends, this is a pretty good game. Why am I just seeing this now? Why don't I even know anything about it? And I just simply say back to the fact that they released it 7 days before GT7, and it just completely disappeared in the wilderness. And a lot of people are saying, well, it's not half decent, and the online apparently is pretty good as well. But what a stupid decision to bring out a racing game, a game with the same genre of GT7, and in fact very similar in styles as well, of course, because of the fact that, you know, the cars that you're racing, very similar in styles, just 7 days before GT7 came out. And as soon as GT7 came out, Grid Legends, it went in the bin. I saw YouTubers making videos about Grid Legends. As soon as GT7 came out, all stopped overnight. It did. Stupid decision. Really was. So anyway, yeah, I'm so incensed. Now, when they started doing this Breaking Point 2, the big F1 YouTubers, because I do subscribe to all of them, even though I take the piss out of them regularly, I do subscribe to all of them because I do like to watch their content. You can't take the piss out of someone if you don't actually watch the content that you're taking the piss out of. So I do like to watch all of them. And I have to say, in my timeline, I think it was a couple of days ago, I had 12 videos of Breaking Point Part 1. 12 videos from 12 different F1 YouTubers breaking exactly the same bit of the video, the story of Breaking Point, and it was all in my feed. And that's what incensed me. I went, what's the point? Now, Breaking Point is the one big narrative push that EA can use to sell this game. I understand that, but also if you blow your wad early, nobody's going to want to know. And once you get past Breaking Point 2, what other improvements to this game is there? I mean, we've heard about the handling improvements and about how much better it's going to be on a controller. Yeah, whoopity whoop. We will see if that's true or not when the game comes out, because that's what they said about F1 22. And the first release of F1 22, I have to say, I was really excited for. The handling was spot on it was. And then the inevitable happens. After about the 4th patch, suddenly the handling goes to crap, absolute crap, and it just gets worse as it goes on. And the handling model on 22 now is just the worst it's ever been. Really has. Worst it's ever been. But yeah, so that's a huge problem for me for bringing out Breaking Point 2 early, because apart from that, what else is actually new? It's an F1 game. It comes out every year. How many other innovations are they going to put in it? They know there isn't really. They've spoken nothing about My Team or the career mode, which I'm pretty sure is going to be an almost carbon copy of last year's game. There'll be the usual couple of bits of refinements. You might get, the R&D section might be spruced up a little bit even more, but apart from that, it's going to be exactly the same. So there's going to be nothing else in the game that's different from last year, apart from Breaking Point 2, which, as I say, they could have really pushed that as a big thing for the game that would have encouraged people. But now, no. Everyone's going to have seen Chapter 1, 2 and 3. It's just pointless. Absolutely pointless. But there you go. That's big business for you. Wowzers, we got some messages. Right, I can stop waffling like I usually do now and read the messages. Will F1 Gaming, hello sir, welcome to the stream. He says, today is Martin Brundle's 64th birthday. Wowzers me trousers. Well, happy birthday to Martin Brundle. I know you'll be watching Hookster Talks because I know, everyone watches this show, so... So well done to Martin Brundle for getting to 64. Almost an old age pensioner, yes. It would be next year, but the way the government keeps changing the rules, it'll probably be another 4 years before he's officially an old age pensioner. But oh my God. Now, as I'm probably a lot older than a lot of people that are watching right now, I've followed Martin Brundle's career from very early stages. I remember when he was at, was it Ligier, I think it was Ligier, when he was doing like a part-time drive slot where he was doing a couple of the races, and another driver who I think was a Japanese driver, I can't remember the name, was doing a few more. And in the races he wasn't doing, he was actually commentating for the BBC. And that's basically how he started the BBC commentaries, just by being sort of a part-time man, because he couldn't get a race. Now the reason why he was only racing part-time is because this other driver, whose name completely escapes me, Japanese driver, he brought a lot of sponsorship money to the team, and so they opted to have Martin on a sort of drive per race basis instead of having him for a full season, because this other driver did actually bring a lot of money in. So they had, even though he was pretty shit, can't remember his bloody name, but he was pretty crap. But anyway, so that was my first introduction to Martin Brundle, and he had this very laconic wit about him, very deadpan sometimes in some of the comments that he said. I do miss that about Martin, I have to say. Obviously I don't watch Sky One anymore. Sky One. Well, nobody watches Sky One anymore, do they? No, I don't watch Sky F1, unfortunately, because I haven't got it. So I haven't seen Martin Brundle doing commentary for quite a few years now. But just from little snippets I've seen, I do miss that laconic wit that he used to have back in the day, which was great. I always remember that the Renault, the 2008 Renault, which was sponsored by ING, I think, which was a banking business company, something like that. Anyway, you remember the livery. It's sort of orange and bit of white in it, and it was the livery they had after the World Championship winning car, the Renault from 2005 and 2006, the iconic blue colour. And then they went to this sort of yellowy, because that's what the colours of the ING was, a sort of yellowy white colour, and it was okay, but it wasn't anything spectacular. I remember Martin Brundle doing one of his famous grid walks, and I think it was at Singapore, and of course it was under the darkness, and this head honcho, this head woman at ING, very, very, very smart and sophisticated, and oh yes, probably earns 50 grand a year type of woman. And she turned around to Martin, she goes, "Oh look, it's Martin Brundle," and he like didn't really acknowledge her existence, to be honest, but he carries on with his, what he was saying about, and she goes, "Oh, how do you think our car," she was referring to the Renault, of course, just, "How do you think our car looks like under the spotlights?" And he goes, "Looks about the same as what it looks like in the daylight, to be fair." And that just had me in stitches. And she sort of went, "Ooh, ooh, ooh." So yeah, that was very endearing of Martin Brundle. He wasn't having any of it. She was just trying to get some media exposure for ING, and he was just like, "No, I'm not having this." And so yeah, that was a funny moment for Martin Brundle. But yeah, I mean, I remember his early career, of course, at the Benetton with Michael Schumacher. That was a fun few years that I used to watch him with Michael. Of course, Michael was the class of the field, and Martin Brundle had no chance of competing with that kind of talent, but he did a very good job as a number 2 at the Benetton team. I have to say, very good job indeed. So yeah, I followed his career quite closely, and of course, he left Formula One and went into commentating, and he started at the BBC, of course, at the BBC and ITV as well, when ITV poached the commentary from the BBC for a lot of money. And so yeah, and unfortunately, I think it was 2011 or maybe 2012 when they said that the deal was that they were going to go to highlight shows for the commentary. Sort of going to be a mixture where you're going to have nine live races and like 9 ones with only highlights. It was Martin Brundle that said, "Nah, I don't want to do a highlight show," and so he left and went to Sky, which left David Twat Coulthard to do the commentary on like whatever channel it was at the time, either the BBC or Channel 4, and that was the start of their. Now they still deny this to this day, but that was the start of their feud. And even today, I know for a fact that they really are no longer friends. They really are no longer friends. They'll talk to each other, but they're really Coulthard felt stabbed in the back over that. He really did. He felt like Martin had just disappeared for the money. And to be fair, he did disappear for the money. Yes, obviously he went to Sky and left David either. I can't remember if it was the BBC or Channel 4, but anyway, he left him behind, and they really are not friends anymore because of that. But that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes in business and media and all that stuff. You see an opportunity and you go for it, and because David wanted him to stay and do the commentary with him, but he said, no, I'm not, I'm out of here. So he left, and so that was the end of Martin Brundle, at least on free television. Of course, now he's still on Sky, of course. Will F1 Gaming says, agree with you, Ed, about Russell. There you go. My problem with Breaking Point, says Edward Hunter, is it's pretty much the same story every year. Devon Butler is the moustache twirling villain. Yeah, it is very similar to the old, if anyone remembers this, the original Toka race driver. It's very similar. Yeah, with Ryan McCain. And I can't remember the bad guy in that. It was a very long time ago now. Jesus, it was 2002. I can't remember the bad guy in that. Because he had one name, and then James Randall. But he changed his name halfway through the game. So he couldn't be recognised as the bad guy. It was all very confusing. It was basically played out like an episode of The Sopranos. It really was. Even to the fact that Randall got dumped into the boot of a car at the end and driven off into the sunset, never to be seen again. Who knows what ditch he was chucked into? I don't know. But yeah, it just reminds me very much of that game, because yeah, I mean it was great back in 2002. It was on PlayStation 2, and we were like, what's this? A narrative story in a motor racing game? We'd never seen the like. We really hadn't. In fact, it was completely new to us. It really was, and we loved it. The game, Toka Race Driver, the first one, it was okay. It wasn't brilliant by any stretch, but it was the first Toka game on PS2. I had a lot of trouble trying to harness the power of the PS2 to try and get a Toka game out of it. They did a good job, but it certainly wasn't up there with the best, has to be said. But that narrative story that went through it was just, that was what hooked us. That's what drew us in, and that's what kept us playing until the end. Now, it wasn't like Breaking Point. You had like certain little cutscenes that were cut in at certain times, and the rest of the time, the actual racing was completely up to you. So it wasn't like the fact that you had to then in the next race go and finish first or finish in third position or whatever. You could do the racing exactly how you wanted to. So you could finish in last place every race. Didn't make any difference. You'd still get the same cutscenes at certain points during the game. They would cut in regardless of where you finished. It was quite bizarre, but they did manage to work it like that, and it did work out quite well. So you could do really badly, you'd still get the cutscenes, and the story would still progress. Unlike Breaking Point, where it's very tightly focused narrative, and there are objectives that you have to achieve, and if you don't achieve them, then you basically just have to press restart and start again. Yeah, which isn't like Toka. So Devon Butler is the moustache twirling villain, and Aidan Jackson is the boring blank slate protagonist. Yes, I do agree with you there. I do agree. Yes, but the thing you have to remember is this is. It's still Codemasters, or it's EA, but it's not written by Hollywood scriptwriters, is it? Basically, they will put the call out, and a writer, will come in and write the script for them. And they could be a very, very good writer, but they're not the same caliber as someone who's just about to write. I would say a Marvel movie, but that's pretty much putting down anyone who writes Marvel movies, and rightly so. So yeah, but you can see where I'm coming from. They're not Hollywood script writers, so the script each time is going to be contrived. It's going to be very stuff that you've seen before. It's basically going to be like a soap opera, and that's what it is. Breaking Point, the original, was just basically a bit of a soap opera in Formula One, wasn't it? If you think about it, it was nothing special because, as I say, it was written by someone that they called in. They're writers, they do a good job, and that's fair enough. But they're certainly not up there in the upper echelons of Hollywood script writers or anything like that. They're just your bog standard they probably go on for their next job and write an article for the Guardian or something. That's the kind of sort of writer they are. They're writing a script or they're writing something else. That's what they do. But I say they're not up there in the pathos of Hollywood scriptwriter. Not that I think that Hollywood scriptwriters are worth anything these days, to be honest. Oh my God, if you look at some of the shit they're chucking out, but you can see my point. So it's got to be something that's very, very simple and nothing really too complicated. And of course, it is only involving the world of Formula One, so they haven't really got that much to go on. They could go completely stupid and sort of try and make it like Sylvester Stallone's Driven, if anyone remembers that movie, which, oh my God, if you haven't seen that movie, I recommend. In fact, if you love motorsport or anything at all, go and see Driven. Sylvester Stallone. It's probably free on Netflix or somewhere. It's because I can't imagine anyone would be still charging money to watch it. But yeah, I actually call it drivel, not driven, because that's basically what it is. But they basically just used a story, which is a very, very simple story. There was, the young driver, the old driver teaches the young driver how to be a better... You see where I'm coming from? There was no complication in the script whatsoever. And don't forget, it was written by Sylvester Stallone. This was the bloke who wrote Rocky. Yeah, he has written some great stuff. He's also written some shit as well. And Drivel was complete and utter shite. It really was. Oh my God. But as I say, when they had no more story to sort of tell, they just added CGI in. I mean, some of those races... I just can't stop laughing, okay? Now, everyone knows if you get a bad crash in motor racing, things happen. Cars hit the barriers, wheels fly off. Sometimes the car flips up. But in this drivel, the cars literally fly up and start flipping around about 50 feet up in the air. You can see it's all CGI as well, because it's very early CGI work, so you can plainly see it's CGI. And they're flipping up in the air, and it's just absolutely incredible. And then the car lands on the ground the right way up in a fiery heap, and the driver's still in the car. Oh, I'm okay. And then of course the inevitable happens: the car catches fire, and then someone has to come in and be the hero and grab the person out of the car and pull them out before the car eventually explodes into a mess. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is basically Driven. It's crap, isn't it? But that's another example of the Hollywood hype machine in overdrive. Yes. They see something like F1, they think, well, yeah, it's or should I say IndyCar, Champ Car, which is basically what Driven was based on, and they think, oh yeah, well, we can't really make it that exciting, so let's make it that exciting. And they ladled that big ladle of CGI effects they put in. They just whacked it on like throwing spaghetti at the wall. It was just like, yeah, we need more CGI over there, and we need more CGI over there. That's what we need. Yeah, that'll make it better. And it's just absolutely crap. But if you love motorsport, please go and watch that movie, because you've got to see it to believe it. It's called Driven, or Drivel as I call it. And yeah, go watch it. It's classic, absolute classic. The best bit is when they all start, when two of them start driving through... Oh, sorry about that. My camera just froze, so I stopped myself for a minute. Yeah, so the best bit is when they're actually, two of them are driving through, I think it's Las Vegas or somewhere like Las Vegas, and they're in like champ cars, and they're going through all the traffic in these champ cars, and they've got no helmets on either. They've got no helmets on, and they're you'll look at it and you'll go, what the chuffing hell is this? But it's worth watching. It's on for a little bit too long as well. It's about 2 hours long, I think, or 1 hour 50. So it's a little bit too long for its before it starts outstaying its welcome. But stick with it till the end, because just watch it. And after you've watched it, make sure you erase it from your brain so that you never have to watch it again, because it's, oh my god, it's just horrible. Well done, Sylvester. Well done indeed. Will F1 Gaming says, I only completed Breaking Point last December. Yeah, that's what I did, Will, as you noticed, because I did it on live on stream, which I actually did Breaking Point. I did it way after it had come out. I think about a year later, because I just wanted to wait. And I made sure I didn't watch anyone's videos about it, so I really came into that story fresh. And I didn't know exactly what was... Well, clearly by the way I kept cocking it up, people knew that I didn't know what was going on. So there you go. I think I did about the first half of the first 10 minutes because I was doing a review for it for my YouTube channel. So I think then I did a couple of minutes of it, but that was it. That was all I did. So I was really fresh when I went into that, which is great. And it's great to see when you don't know what's going on. EA Sports. On F1 2021. Scott says, hello Scott, welcome to the stream. He says, hi Dave, I forgot about your live stream today. Yeah, I know. I just had a message from someone before I came on. He goes, it's not Thursday again, is it? Cock's sake. It's not Thursday. Yeah, it is Thursday again. They do come round quick, don't they, Thursdays? Funny, every 7 days and there's another one of them. Don't know quite how that works, but it does. Plynel Plessy, welcome to the stream, sir. He said the first year since 2015, I don't buy an F1 game. Well, there you go. There is someone committed to the cause. I salute you, sir. I salute you. If I didn't come up with the stupid idea of naming my channel F1 Games PlayStation, I would be with you and I wouldn't be buying the game either. But unfortunately, I did, so I had to. Bastards. Although I bought 2015 2 years ago before it got taken off the store, yeah, 2015's all right to have a little mess around with. Unfortunately, there's no career mode, so you're very limited. But if you pick a driver that was in the 2014 and 2015 season, you can actually have your very own 2-year career mode, because there is obviously the 2014 and 2015 cars. So unfortunately, there's nothing you can do within the career mode. You can't, put upgrades to the car, make it go any faster. It's just, a straight off championship mode. Pick a driver and away you go. But you could have a very nice 2-year career mode. If you've got the same driver that was in 2014, so you could have Lulu if you wanted Lulu for just an example in 2014 and 2015. That's what I did actually quite a few years ago now, just to make the game more exciting. I did a nice little, I think it was Jensen Button, I can't remember. It's even better if you can find a driver who's still in for the 2 years but in different cars. That even adds a little bit more variety to it. So yeah, if you can find that, there was quite a few drivers I think that were in that situation when they changed cars from 2014 to 2015. I think probably some of the back markers, but yeah, you can try that. It's pretty decent. But apart from that, 2015 is basically appalling. It's an appalling game. Yes, just don't do Austria. They still haven't fixed the tyre bug in Austria. Yeah. I think you have to do a 50% race or maybe 100%. I can't remember. But yeah, you just run out of tyres at Austria. And I used to campaign to get that fixed, but they've never fixed it. So Austria, you just have to advance and do the next race because you can't finish it. It's just impossible to finish it. Very weird. Very weird indeed. They just went overboard on the tyre wear. It was just ridiculous tyre wear. Unbelievable. Edward says, I don't know, I just want a story in an F1 game that's more nuanced and better written than a soap opera, rather than everyone acting like a cartoon character. Yeah, I do agree. Now, I was a little bit surprised that they actually went back to CGI for Breaking Point 2 as opposed to Grid Legends when they had real actors. But now I've thought about it, and if you remember in Breaking Point 1, of course, Aiden Jackson, they got like the face scan, so they would have had to have kept up that in CGI, because I don't think that the actors portraying them are actually look the same. So yeah, that's probably the reason why they had to continue with CGI as opposed to real actors. Or maybe they couldn't afford real actors for the F1 game this year after just getting them for Grid Legends, which was it last year, wasn't it? Yeah, maybe they're a bit low on cash at EA, so they thought, we'll just do it CGI again. It's easier. It's easier than hiring actors. I haven't actually played the that mode in Grid Legends, so I can't comment on how bad it is. But I expect as they're using real actors, and of course these actors are not going to be the creme de la creme. Let's face it. No, they're jobbing paid actors, aren't they? Let's face it. And so I can probably say without even playing it that the acting is probably not up to standards, or probably is up to standards maybe of a Marvel movie. Yes, because you don't need to act to be in a Marvel movie. Absolutely not. No way, shape or form do you need to act to be in a Marvel movie. No. Will says, I just don't see any excitement with F1 23. I agree with you, Will, but a lot of that's due to apathy. When you bring against the same game out every year, how much excitement can you actually build? Not really that much, can you really? It's like, the FIFA games. It's the same game every year. There's not really much. You can tweak little bits, but there's not really a lot you can do to make it a killer game. The only way you could do that is to have a 3-year break and to bring it back 3 years later. But of course, no one's going to put up with that, are they? No. And we had the drought of 2007 and 2008 with no F1 games, and everyone was climbing the walls by that point. Thank God for the Wii and the PSP with 2009. I mean, although it was a pretty shit game, at least it was F1. It was something. So no one's going to put up with that. But yeah, to bring out a truly spectacular F1 game, they've got to take more than a year break. Otherwise, it's just evolution as opposed to revolution. All they can do is just add bits, tweak bits, and that's it. Because the development cycle is so short. It really is. By the time the games come out, by the time they've done the 20 odd patches, it's October usually, and then they've got to start the next game. So the actual development cycle for the game, and don't forget, this game's been ready to be pre-ordered for the past few weeks, which means the game's ready to go. It's already been finished like a month ago. So if you look at it there, we've got from October till May, they've only actually got a 6-month development window to do these games every year. 6 months, and that's it. And that's a very short amount of time to do any kind of game. I mean, look at the Grand Theft Auto games. How long do they take to make? Well, clearly more than 11 years at the moment, but let's use a better example. The Gran Turismo games. How long? 2017 for GT Sport. Now we've got GT7. They take huge amount of time to make. Huge amount of time. 4-5 years in total. Now, a lot of people say they shouldn't have bothered with all that time on GT7, and I agree with them. Yes, a lot of complaints about GT7, and I agree with all of them. But the actual style of the game, the look of the game, the graphics, you've got to admit, it's always worth spending that extra time, and that's where the 4 years comes from, getting those graphics right. The actual gameplay is probably done quite quick. They probably don't take that much time to do it because it's, pretty standard stuff, really, isn't it? Not really advanced much. I mean, doing the menu books now is just pretty much the same as a career mode, to be honest. It's not much difference. But yeah, so it takes them 4 or 5 years. So Codemasters have got just 6 months to sort it out. So it's never going to be brilliant. It's never going to be brilliant. But that's the way it goes, unfortunately. With yearly titles, they're never going to be brilliant. Edward says, bloody hell, what is that name? What is... I can't even pronounce that first name. Yeah, Gatwa, is that it? Gatwa. I do apologise. I've completely butchered that, but I seriously can't even begin to pronounce the first name. But anyway, was the best thing about Grid Legends story. No wonder he was picked to play Doctor Who. It's the new bloke from Doctor Who, is it? I understand. But I still can't say the name. It's weird to have an N right next to a C. That's very weird. Very weird. Is the N silent or is the C? Anyway, perhaps someone could enunciate it in the chat for me so I can actually say his name properly. Because I don't like butchering people's names. I do like to say them properly, but that one has really stumped me. That's really stumped me. That's definitely, yeah. Edward says, to be fair, I think they've only given the preview copy the first 2 races in Breaking Point, so I can see why they put a tease in. Yeah, I did hear it was about the first 2 or 3 chapters, so yeah, fair enough, but it's still, I still think it's too much, and they should have just held it back until, it's only like, 14 days away, less than that now for the pre-release, about 11 days away, and it could have been out anyway, and everyone could have played it and experienced it at the same time. Now everyone knows exactly how chapter 1, 2 and 3 works. I just, doesn't do it for me. Anyway, Scott says, I like some of the F1 YouTubers, but they frustrate me so bloody much. They frustrate me so bloody much as well, Scott. Yes, they do. And some of the commentators as well. Jack Nichols! Edward says, I think if there was nothing of Breaking Point 2 at all, it would have been defeated the point of marketing it so much. Yeah, that's true. Will says, I call EA Sports electrifying arseholes and have done so for years. I like that. I like that a lot, yes. Electrifying arseholes. It's in the game. That should be their new title. I'm pretty sure. I'm sure that'll catch on. Matthew says, Breaking Point is a great idea, but why would you let big F1 YouTubers have it early? Such a shame for so many people. It's like a Doctor Who trailer that shows a regeneration, which ruins the surprise. Yes, exactly. Ruining the surprise. That's what I... But that's the way of the world these days, isn't it? Everything has to be out there ruined, No one can wait anymore. There's no expectation of anything anymore. It's just... It's got to be out there straight away, and of course a lot of that is associated with social media, of course. Edward says, I don't know, Doctor Who gives advanced screenings to the press. Usually if there's a big twist, they'll leave it out until it actually airs. Will says 1995. Thank you, Will. Yes, that was to my earlier thing about Martin Brundle, I do believe. Planet Place says, Aguri Suzuki. Thank you. I've said this before, okay. My brain isn't going, but when I'm talking and trying to think at the same time, that's very difficult for me. So I know the names. As soon as you put it in the chat, I instantly know the driver you're talking about. But when you're talking and trying to remember at the same time, I don't know. I just find that very difficult. So yeah, I do forget things. But yeah, Aguri Suzuki, that was the driver who was sort of part-time with Martin Brundle. I can't remember the sponsorship that he had, which honoured him that title to be able to drive that car. I can't remember. Probably some kind of Japanese company or something like that sponsored him. But anyway, so that was him. Will says, was when Ligier had Brundle and Aguri Suzuki swapping during the season. Yeah, Ligier, that was it. Yeah. Yes, it was Aguri Suzuki, Edward, who later founded Super Aguri. Yes. I think Mugen Honda had something to do with that as well. Will says, Brundle was offered a drive with Sauber during the 1997 season, but declined the offer. Sensible. Yeah. Sauber 97. Just trying to think of the Sauber 97. It was... Yeah, it wasn't really up there, was it, the Sauber in 97? No, I know they did really well, especially with Kubica in, was it 2008? But 97, no, I don't think it was there. Didn't they have Red Bull's sponsor on the engine can on the side as well? Was that still 97? Can't quite remember. So long ago now. So long ago. But yeah, Sauber. Yeah, not a front running car. So I can understand that decision. I mean, Martin Brundle did flip-flop around for a few years in quite uncompetitive cars. He was in Jordan, wasn't he? In was it 96? No. I'm sure he drove for Jordan at some point. But anyway, yeah, he did flip-flop around during the sort of tail end of his career. So, yeah, that's probably a good decision not to go to Sauber. Planet Place says Brundle was also on Eurosport's qualifying coverage of the 1995 Argentine Grand Prix. There's a video of it somewhere. Yeah, I do remember that. Yes. Planet says, Aguri Suzuki wasn't that bad. In 1990, he got third in his home race, aka the one when Senna and Prost collided again. Yes, yes. I was watching that clip the other day. Nice, nice. Edward says, weren't ING in some sort of tax scandal a while back that made them go under? Yes. Yes, there was definitely some scandal I remember with ING that made them go belly up. Yes, something about unpaid taxes. Yes. But that's part of the course with these big companies, isn't it? You know, they make millions, but if they can get away without paying tax, they will. But unfortunately, they didn't because, yeah, they went belly up. It was something like that anyway. But, yeah, I know they did go tits up in the end, did old ING. So, yeah. So, having the ING logo on the side of the, it was on the top, wasn't it, of the Renault, really didn't do much good in the end, did it? No. ING departed Renault when Crashgate was investigated. Oh, yeah, that wouldn't have helped the sponsorship either, would it? When Crashgate, yes, that no. Oh dear. Planet says 2012 was the BBC Highlights live thing. At least we got Ben Edwards. Yeah, that's right. I'm actually watching. I'm watching the 2012 season right now. I remember that. I'm watching the 2012 season right now, and yeah, some of the races are live, and some of them are with highlights. That's right. I think they had 9 highlight shows, and the rest, or it might be the other way around, 9 live shows, and the rest were highlights. Something like that, anyway. But yes, I remember those years. And then in 2019, it went highlights only. I do remember that. Yes. Will says 2015 was the last year of the BBC. Well, I wish 2023 would be the last year of the BBC, but unfortunately, no, they're still going. Yes, 2015. Yes, that was because they didn't have enough money. So they sold it to Channel 4. They're supposed to have that deal for another 3 years. But they said, no, we've not got enough cash. Those bastard English license payers aren't paying us enough money, and so we're going to get rid of F1. Yeah, so all you fans up there, woo, screw you, woo, screw you. We need the money to pay for Jimmy Savile. Yes, that's what we need it for. So you can all go, yeah, bloody F1. Who cares about that? No, Jimmy Savile, that's the one we need it for. So yeah, that's what they said. And so they sold it to Channel 4. And luckily Channel 4 very, very quickly bought those rights. And I have to say, they've done a bloody good job. And possibly a far better job than the BBC could have done. Because the coverage of the BBC in the final years was getting very, very stale, I have to say. Very, very stale. But I think that was more due to the fact that they knew they were going to get rid of it, so they couldn't be bothered. Like a lot of things in life, if you know something's about to stop, then you really can't bother with it, can you? So that's my opinion of, why that happened, to be honest. Scott says TV's David Coulthard is decent in the com box, either with Ben Edwards or Alex Jacks. Yeah, I do like David Twat Coulthard. He's very measured in his responses and what have you. He doesn't shout too much, go over the top, or I hate commentators that really go over the top and try to create artificial excitement when it really isn't there. If the race is exciting, it will be exciting. If it isn't, then it isn't. There's no need to artificially try to create excitement from your commentary. So that's one thing I do like about Alex Jacks. He's very understated sometimes. If there's not a lot going on, he won't suddenly try and inflate it to make it exciting. If there's not a lot going on, he'll stay quiet, not say a lot. Which obviously in commentary, the trick is to constantly talk. That's what you're there for. But there's also what you call pauses. You can have pauses as well when there's not a lot going on, so we won't say anything. And I like that. I like the pauses. Well, that one of the races commentated on Formula E, yes. Scott says, Ryan, bitch tits McCain. Yes. Will F1 Gaming says, let's not get into what Jack Nicholls has done. Well, unfortunately, Will, it's on the thumbnail for this video, isn't it? What did I put? I can't remember what I put down now. It feels like about 20 years ago. What did I put down? The Spanish Grand Prix. Yeah, we've done that. We've done that. Oh, yes. Has F1 Media got a lad culture problem? Now, I phrased it like that because I knew YouTube would have a problem if I phrased it how I wanted to phrase it, which was, has F1 Media got a perv problem? Yes, I couldn't phrase it like that, but you know where I was coming from. Has it got a perv problem? Now, okay. After I did my video from yesterday about Jack Nicholls, I have to say I didn't really know much about him. No, I just sort of read out the statement that was there, but actually, I didn't really know much about him. So last night I did actually go through YouTube and just put in Jack Nicholls' name, and there was about a dozen videos on it. So, I didn't watch all of them, but I watched a couple of them to try and get an insight into Jack Nicholls. Now, one thing I will say is, and this crops up a hell of a lot, but I've got to put a disclaimer in here so I don't get sued, okay? But when you're talking about pervy behaviour, yeah, one thing keeps cropping up, and that is I keep seeing these people with Matthew Gallagher, who is, of course, with P1 with Matt and Tommy. I saw a video of esports with Jack Nicholls. They were all sitting around a desk. Jack Nicholls was on the right-hand side. You had Alex Jacks in the middle, and you had Matt Gallagher off to the left-hand side. And that was for the esports commentary, of course. But time and time again, I keep seeing Matt Gallagher. Now, I know that there was allegations about Matt Gallagher, but nothing was proven. So I would like to say, so I don't get sued, okay, that until anything's proven, okay, Matthew is completely 100% innocent. Anyone on the planet can make accusations up against someone. It don't have to be true. So unless anything is proven, Matthew Gallagher, okay, is completely innocent of anything. All I'm saying is that he seemed to know a lot of these people. Don't forget, his best friend was TRL Limitless, and we all know the TRL Limitless story. This is someone who I'm still very, very disappointed about, because I followed him from 2011. Used to give him, encouragement tweets. Used to leave him messages on his YouTube as well from 2011. So it was very disappointing for me. I'm still subscribed to TRL Limitless, but I don't watch any of his videos anymore. I haven't watched any of his videos for ages. I'm only subscribed because I'm just hoping that one day I'm going to see a blank profile picture there and he's called it a day. Because no matter what, he's never going to be anything bigger than the profile that he's got now. He's never going to be involved again in anything to do with esports. In fact, anything outside of his bedroom, he's not going to be involved with after the incident that, if nobody knows what I'm talking about, he basically tweeted messages of a sexual nature to a 14-year-old girl. Now, I would like to say nobody knows the circumstances of that whatsoever. All we know is the evidence that we can see in front of us because these tweets were posted on social media. That's all. But we know nothing of the backstory. We know nothing of the circumstances and why he sent them. Now there's two theories. Was he completely pissed one night out of his head and just decided to send these as a prank? You know how people can get completely slam-ass drunk and stuff. That's one possibility. Or is the other possibility that he, actually is what you would call a predator? We don't know. Because we have no indication of the backstory behind that. All we know is he sent inappropriate tweets, and the evidence is there. He did it, and so obviously, he's guilty, and that's it. But we don't know the circumstances behind it. The same with Jack Nicholls. We have no idea the circumstances of what happened and what it is he actually did, because inappropriate behaviour can cover a multitude of things. It's like a complete blanket coverage of things that you could do. Okay, now inappropriate behaviour, you could get your willy out and flash it at a girl. That's classed as inappropriate behaviour. That could be what Jack did. Now, apparently, though, it was touching 3 females. So, touching inappropriately. But in that context, what did he do? Did he, because you've got to remember the way of the world right now, the way everything's nannying and condensed down. Did he slap these 3 girls on the arse? Would that be classed as inappropriate behaviour? It may be. I've got no idea. We're just members of the public, so we don't actually get the true facts of the story. All we get is what we see in print, and an investigation was carried out by an independent inquiry, and I have to say that was the best decision, because they wouldn't have been biased towards Jack whatsoever. So their conclusions were that he did do something wrong, and he has been punished for it. Now, unfortunately, that's the end of Jack Nicholls' career. I don't see him ever being in any kind of broadcasting capacity ever again. I've said it before, mud sticks, and it doesn't matter. Even if it's, TRL Limitless, Jack Nicholls, mud sticks, and you never get rid of that stigma that you are a little bit dodgy. A little bit dodgy. People don't want to work with you. Sponsors don't want to commit to you because you've got that reputation of being and it's just so silly. It really is so silly. There's enough ways in the world to bring yourself down naturally. There's enough, you could be in a good job, you could have a serious accident, never be able to walk again, and you have to, you can't do your job anymore. That's the kind of thing that, but this is just, it's just so silly. It really is so silly, because A, you can't keep your hands to yourself, or you can't keep your willy in your pants. It's just, why would you jeopardize a career like that? People were saying he was going to go on to great things. He could have been a Formula One commentator, which, I do believe he could have been. Why would you throw it all down the drain for something as stupid as that? Really? Come on. But as I say, this happens time and time again. And a lot of this is to do with social media, because the opportunity is there. You see young girls all the time at these racetracks, Opportunity's there. Opportunity is there. And if you are inclined, and I'm not saying Jack is or isn't, I don't know. He could be, he could not be. But if you are inclined and the opportunity's there, you're going to take it. You're going to take it. If that's your mentality, you're going to take it. Now, most people in life, okay, know there's a line. Okay? Some people sail very close to that line. I am one of those people. I always sail very close to that line. Sometimes I'm sort of dancing on the line as well, the line, yeah. But a very small minority of people actually cross that line, and Jack's one of those people. He's actually gone past the point of no return. There's a morality that most people know how to behave and how that's wrong and you shouldn't do that. Most people know that. There's a very small minority, I'd say possibly 5 or 10% of the population, that don't have that morality, and they cross that line. And that's what Jack did. He went past that line of stopping. And once you've done that, there's no going back. There's There's no take backs. There's no, oh, it's all right, don't worry about it. We still support you. No, they don't, because they dismissed him instantly. And that's what happens. And I know there's a lot of people out there who like Jack Nicholls, supported Jack Nicholls for the past few years and thought he was a great commentator. And so not only has he let himself down, he's let all of you people down as well that supported him. And for stupid reasons. Okay? I've nothing against people who sail close to the wind. Yeah? No, that's fine. Just don't cross the line. Just don't do it. Why would you jeopardize your career like that? Just don't get. Well, I'm going to tell you a very quick story now. Okay, I was dismissed from my job, and unfortunately, I ended up suing my boss for unfair dismissal, which I did win the case, but it was just a horrible time. I mean, he came up with this image of me as quite possibly the worst worker on the planet, okay? I just never did anything. I just sat around. If I was asked to do something, I would say no, I wouldn't. This was all conjured up by him and his legal team about me. Painting a picture of me as the worst person on the planet, really. The worst worker you could ever employ. Absolutely. It was all bullshit. Because the complete opposite was true. I was the one that, oh, no, that's okay. I'll do it for you right now, sir. No, that's okay. It doesn't matter that I'm on a break. I'm going to stop that break, do what needs to be done, and I'll come back and have my break later. It doesn't matter. That was me. But because, I'd sued, so there's all type of things in life that can happen to you. But ever since then, I've had this sort of black mark on my CV, which has really, taken me down from getting future jobs, because future employers, they see me as a troublemaker. Even though I wasn't a troublemaker, I was just standing up for my rights, what was right. And I thought in my mind that I was unfairly dismissed, and I won the case. I was unfairly dismissed. So I was right to do that. But the repercussions of that have affected me for years and years and years. It's like a black mark on your CV. Employers look at you sideways when they see that. They're like, oh, because it has to be put on your CV that you were dismissed from your last job, and they see, and then they ask you questions and you have to answer them, because you're not allowed to lie about your CV, and you tell them, and then it's more sideways looks, because you're classed as a troublemaker. So there's things like that can stop, but this is just so stupid and unnecessary. It really is. And this culture of perviness seems to be very prevalent in Formula One. It really does. I mean, it's probably like it in all sports, but in Formula One especially, it seems to be really coming to a head, excuse the pun, coming to a head right now. It really does. And everywhere you look, there seems to be people involved in Formula One or media getting done for, inappropriate behaviour, sexual contact, all that kind of thing. And it's just ridiculous. It really is. Anyway, that was the end of my rant. Thank you very much. Will says, very, very disappointing, and he has fucked it. Yes, he has. I quite agree with you, Will. Quite agree. I know it's a shame, but he did what he did. He's thrown away a great career. He has. He's thrown away a great career, and it was completely unnecessary. Unnecessary. It really was. Okay? Just, as I say, know where the line is. Know where the line is. Will says, I saw him as a potential replacement for David Croft in the future. Yeah, I think he probably could have been. Not going to happen now, unfortunately. Yeah, Jack has made a rod of his own back, sadly. I think his behaviour is more common than what we like to think. Yeah, I also agree with you there, Edward. I think his behaviour is more common than we like to think. I think this is an epidemic problem within the F1 media. As I say, the opportunity is there because of social media and the fact that he interacts with lots of people and lots of females. The opportunity is there, and if the opportunity is there and you're that type of person, you will take it, unfortunately. I think Breaking Point is written by the production company that Darren Brown uses. Oh, that should be great then. Formula E have acted in the correct way regarding Nichols. Yes, that Formula E have. They did an independent inquiry, which means there was no biasness towards Nichols, which is great to see. You don't want that kind of thing, because then people will just be going, you just, because if he'd have got off with it and it was just a inquiry within Formula E, they said, he just got off with it because he's one of your presenters, and then everyone would have caused a shitstorm over that. So it was the proper thing to do it as an independent, which means it was taken away from the hands of Formula E entirely. The investigation was done separately, and then they came to the conclusion that he did wrong. So that's great to see. Planet Place says, Drivel, one of the worst films ever made. Yes, I totally agree with you. It's just bad. There was one scene where a tyre flew up into the crowd and I had a panic attack because it reminded me of Final Destination 4. Yeah, I know. It's just, it's crazy. I caught that film on ITV4 one night and it was rubbish. Well, I've got news for you. It still is rubbish. It's never going to get any. But the best bit was that car chase with Stallone and Jimmy Bly driving open-wheel cars on the streets. Yeah, I know. Chicago, isn't it? Yeah, I think it is Chicago, actually. Also hilarious how they start those champ cars with car keys. Yeah, that bit made me laugh. As we all know, because, we're not Formula One or champ car experts, but we do know you don't start these cars with keys. No computers or rev control laptops needed at all. No, it was brilliant. It really was. Yeah, you just turn the key and press down on the throttle. That's what you need to start these up. No, actually, you need a big bloke on the back with that big rod thing, isn't it? That sticks into the, I presume the rear axle or the gearbox or whatever. Sticks it into the back, and then because it's the starter motor, isn't it? Because there's no starter motors on these cars, is there? So they can't. There's no electric starter or anything like that, so they can't start them up manually. So they have to stick that big rod in the back, and then that's actually the starter motor, and then the rod turns around and way engine fires. Yes. No, that's not how it works. Just turn the key. Turn the key. Plynal says the Brad Pitt F1 film apparently has the same plot as Driven, as an ex-driver comes out of retirement to help a younger... Oh, God. Please, no. It's going to be the same thing then, just Brad Pitt. I mean, he's lost the plot these days anyway, only Brad Pitt. I mean, what was that bloody... That one on the train? Jesus. What? That's Keanu Reeves, I think. Isn't Brad Pitt doing the Born F1? Yeah, I think that is Keanu Reeves doing that. I saw that in the news, yeah. Will says, Vettel 2014, Red Bull 2015 Ferrari. Oh, yes, good pick. Good pick there, Will. I'd like that. Yeah, Vettel 2014 Red Bull and then 2015 Ferrari. Yes. There you go. That's a little thing if you want to do a little 2-year career on F1 2015. Pick the same driver, you can get 2 different cars. There you go. The Milk Guzzler. Well, welcome to the stream, sir. He says, Alonso and Vettel both changed teams in 2014, 2015. Ah, thank you very much. There you go. There's another one you can pick. Vettel would be a better option. Alonso was in much worse cars, especially 2015. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Alonso went backwards big time by going to McLaren. Yes, he did. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. And now it looks like it might all be going backwards again. Yes. Especially for Red Bull when they go to Ford in 2026. I really don't see the logic in that one at all. Really. Can't see why they're going to Ford. No. And then Aston are going to Honda in 2026 as well, aren't they? That's very strange. Very strange. They spent all this money on getting those Honda engines. They've built their own little add-on bit to the side of the Red Bull factory to actually make these engines. And they've gone to Ford. That's very strange. Very strange. Of course, Ford, yeah, they could produce a cracker. But they haven't been in F1 for quite a few years. In fact, they've never produced a hybrid car in F1 either. I think. I'm just looking back on my No, I think they haven't. I'm pretty sure they haven't. So yeah, it'll be a first for them as well. They've got to produce a hybrid engine, and they've got to make it pretty much unbeatable from the off. That's going to be a tall order for Ford. Let's face it, the Ford engine department is nothing like it used to be back in the old days. Back in the days of Cosworth, that was a force to be reckoned with. But these days, don't know. Anyway, could be fine. We'll find out in 2026. Edward says, I remember back in 2007 I played a mod someone made for F1 Challenge. Yes, lots of mods for F1 Challenge. Shooty. That's Shooty. Or is it Shotty? Shooty or Shotty. There you go. That's his first name. Wow, that's weird. That doesn't sound anything like his name, does it? But okay. Scottish Rwandan actor. Okay, I'm going to say Shooty or Shotty. There you go. Sounds like Scotty. Oh, she cannot take them all, Captain. The delicious crystals are leeching overdrive. That was a terrible Scotty, but anyway. Flannel says Johnny Herbert did well in the 1997 Sauber. Yes, you're right, he did. Johnny Herbert got a podium in Hungary, 1997, I think. Yes, he did. Edward says, I think ING groups still exist, but they certainly don't sponsor F1 anymore. No, they do not. They do not. Flannel says 2019 highlights only, but I still watch Silverstone on Channel 4. Yes. Scott says, I've been playing F1 97 and got a pole at Spain. Bloody hell, that was hard. Yes, Spain's a very hard track on F1 97. Must admit. Very hard indeed. Edward says, wasn't there a licence fee freeze? Government's fault, if anything. Yes, there is a licence fee freeze. Yeah, we haven't got to pay any more for, I think it's the next 5 years or whatever. They keep saying they're going to abolish it, but they're not going to abolish it now, because otherwise they'll just put adverts on the BBC, and the BBC doesn't want adverts. And unfortunately, if you think about it, most of their programming output has always been geared towards not having adverts. So if they've got an hour of drama on the BBC, it actually lasts an hour long. So if you're going to put adverts in that, that's going to really cock up their schedules of getting, they're not going to be able to cram down an hour if it's got 3 advert breaks in it. You see what I mean? That's going to be very hard to do for the BBC. Of course, the commercial channels have been set up from day one to have adverts in them. That's why if you get like, I don't know, let's have a look. Something that's on right now. The Flash, there you go. The last season of The Flash is on right now. It's 40 minutes long. Only it runs for an hour because the other 20 minutes of that is the ad breaks. But as I say, if you get an hour of drama on the BBC, it actually lasts about an hour. And so even if they cut like the end credits off and cut a little bit off the beginning, you're never going to fit that in and get 3 ad breaks in at the same time. So it's going to be very tough for the BBC if they have to go to ads. So that's why I don't think it's ever going to happen, to be honest. I think we'll still be paying the licence fee in another 100 years. What they should do is lower it. Licence fee. £5 a month for everyone. No one's going to complain about that if it's £5 a month. Are you going to complain about it? No. I'm not even going to complain about that. I never even watched the BBC, but I still pay £5 a month for it. No problem. So that's what they should do. Just knock it down to a £5, and that's it. No problem. I agree, though. Channel 4 have done really well with the highlights. Yes, they have. Any regular career mode news for F123, says Matt? No, absolutely nothing, Matt. Nothing at all. As I say, still be the same as the last one, I think. Scott says, I remember F1 in 2016 was a day away from F1 ITV return, but Channel 4 got it, and the credit, they've done a phenomenal job. I wish I was ITV was when Bennett was commentating with Nico Rosberg, championship on ITV. Yes, Nico Rosberg. But hey, yeah, well, there you go. Edward says, I can't stand Matt Gallagher. I met him once at a Codemasters event back in 2011 and found him insufferable. Funny you should say that. A lot of people do. Lionel Plessy says, Matt Gallagher still has me blocked. What have you done, Lionel Plessy? What have you done to upset poor old Matty? Poor old Matty. I try not to get blocked by them because obviously I like to see what they're doing. So if there's anything I can take the piss out of, so I try my best not to get blocked by them. So I still, as I said earlier, I take it onto the line as far as I can without actually, being something that's going to offend them. And then usually that's okay, because as I say, if they block me, it's a pain in the arse to try to work out what they're doing. So that's why I do it, basically. If I wasn't on YouTube or anything like that, I wouldn't give two shites, and I'd be sending any old crap to all of them. But there you go. And TOO Limits is such a scumbag, and the girl he messaged is actually a friend of mine. The whole thing was really traumatic for her. Yes, I agree with you about Mr. Limitless. I'm still going to stand by that I was an avid supporter of him from 2011, because obviously, at that point, nobody knew anything. There wasn't any allegations back in 2011. I think it was a couple of years ago when he actually sent those messages, wasn't it? It was 2020 or something, or 2019, wasn't it? But, back in 2011, there was nothing against him. And, I, like a lot of people, was an avid supporter of TOL Limitless, and we all thought that he was going to go very far, especially on YouTube. I remember just before this happened, he was getting ad breaks, and they had these special ad breaks, and it had James May in them. Yeah, actually inside his videos, and I saw them and I thought, bloody hell, Mr. Limitless, you are really, coming on strong on this platform. And so yeah, and I was an avid supporter. I was always sending messages, but obviously after that, you cannot support it. As I've said, I'm still subscribed to his channel, but I have not watched any of his videos for ages. And as I say, I'm only subscribed because I'm just waiting for that profile picture to go blank, because I'm hoping he'll get to a point where he'll just call it a day and say, I'm done. Enough is enough. I think a lot of people will be very happy when that happens, because as I say, he's still growing very, very slowly on YouTube, but that's basically because he only sticks to YouTube now. He's got rid of all his other social media. He's not on Twitter. He got rid of that almost immediately after these allegations came out. And he's got rid of pretty much everything else. So he's basically only on YouTube. So he's contained within that YouTube sort of bubble, And so, I mean, there's still his supporters on YouTube that have no idea what went on, because a lot of them haven't even got Twitter. So they didn't even know, I mean, he did that apology video, which he then deleted about a week later or whatever to Sophie. I know who you're talking about, because, as I say, I saw all the tweets when that first came out. Yeah, he did that apology video, and then he took it down a week later. But a lot of people I noticed in the comments were saying, what? What's he going about? What's all this about? Because they had no idea. They had absolutely no idea. So, as long as he stays within this YouTube bubble, then, he's fine. But he's never going to... He's on, I think it's 238k subscribers or whatever. But he had about 194 before the Sophie thing even started. So he really hasn't, sort of gained that much, to be honest, has he? It's been a couple of years now. So, and he's never going to get up there, because everyone knows about him. Everyone knows about him. It's public knowledge now what happened. As I said, we still don't know the circumstances. We don't know, why he did it. We've got no, he's never said. He's never going to say, because if it is as bad as the tweets that we saw, then obviously that's going to make him look even worse. So he's never going to, say exactly what happened. Like I say, even if it was done, as a drunken prank, he can't say anything now, because, the evidence is there. It's clear for everyone to see. But yeah, so it's just not good. It's just not good about what happened. Now, on the flip side of that, I've been on here nearly 10 years now. I've also had that situation, but in reverse. I've had on Twitter a lot of young girls contact me. Now, I've always, I always try and look at the profile, try and look and see if look at the picture and try and see if you can get a gauge of, how old they are. But I've had some very young girls contact me. Now, I've always nipped that in the bud, straight away. I'm not interested because apart from anything else, you don't know who someone is on Twitter. They could be a 47-year-old truck driver from Doncaster. You've got no idea who they are, pretending to be a 14-year-old girl. You don't know. But you do get the flip side of that as well. You do get, but I say I've had a lot of young girls contacting me basically because they've seen my YouTube for some strange reason. I don't know why. I got a very low female following on my YouTube. In fact, hideously low. It's like 2% or something of females. But yeah, they like see my videos and because I make sexist comments. Some of them actually like that, and I'm like, oh no, I'm out of here. As I say, it's comedy. That's all it is. It's comedy. Okay, I'm not like. Oops, I've just knocked my microphone. I'm not like that in real life. Okay, I just make sexist jokes for comedy, but some people misinterpret that as, oh yeah, no. So yeah, but as I say, on the flip side, I have had in 10 years, not hundreds, but I've had, I'd say 4 or 5 young girls contacting me, not for anything, like that. Mostly, trying to engage me in conversation, and that's something I'm always sort of suspicious about. Especially if you look on their profile and it says they're like 14 and they're trying to engage me, and clearly you can see from me here that I'm of a certain age, and I always find that a little bit suspicious. So I always say nip that in the bud. I don't block them. I just don't reply. Leave it for a few weeks, then I get rid of them. That's what I usually do. So it's gone past that moment. But as I say, yeah, it does work on the flip side as well. And of course, if you are someone, because I know there's a few people of my age that are that way inclined, and I know it's disgusting, but they like the 14-year-old girls and stuff like that. There are people of my age that like that. I mean, for me personally, I've never understood it, and I never will understand it. But if you're contacting someone like me, and I was someone like that, it's very dangerous, very dangerous. But there's just no sort of real rules on Twitter, and it's just very weird indeed. Planet Place says TL Limitless got away. Disgusting. He did get away, really. I mean, the fact that he's still on the platform, no one else has managed to still stay on their platform of original influence, have they? I mean, Jack Nichols won't be back. There was a bloke, I can't remember his name. He got done because he was actually sending naked pictures of himself. Clearly, how can I put it bluntly? In a state of erectness, that's how I can put it bluntly. He was sending those to young girls. I can't remember his bloody name because obviously. Now, he was always having, this is the laugh that I got. He was always having a go at me because of the videos I made, like with the sexist jokes and that. It was always really, and at times he really got on my wick. It really annoyed me, some of the comments saying, oh, you're a sexist pig and you've got no thing about women, and then this comes out, and I'm just like, oh my god. I mean, it was vindication for me, but I was just like, I just can't believe it. I can't believe I wasted time on this loser with all the messages. I mean, something I posted, and he sent me a GIF, and it was Forrest Gump. So he was trying to imply that I was stupid, yeah, because he just said, and just looking back on it now, I'm just like, oh god, why did I even engage with this guy? Because he has never been back on any kind of platform. He's been trying to get back into motorsport for years, but they just won't have it. They won't have it. But yeah, he was sending naked pictures of himself, like that, to 14-year-old girls all over Twitter. And YouTube and all stuff like that. It was just very weird. Very weird indeed. Very weird indeed. As I've said before, I only like women about 52 years old with tits hanging down to their ankles. That's my preference at the moment. And I can't see that changing anytime soon. But there you go. Edward says, if the women felt uncomfortable and the inquiry ruled against him, then you can't ignore that behaviour. There's no excuse for doing it 3 times in a row to different people. No, that's true. That's true. If it was a one-time incident, you could probably say, all right, he crossed the line. He's a naughty boy, slap on the wrist. But when you do it 3 times, that implies, behaviour. That's a set behaviour that you can't break out of. Do it once and you can probably say, yeah, it was a mistake. I made a mistake, and you can generally get away with it. But if you do it 3 times, that's not a mistake, because you're carrying on doing the same behaviour that you shouldn't be doing in the first place. So yeah, that's definitely a behaviour that you can't get out. So yeah, they were right to do what they did. Reminds me a bit of John Barrowman, who also infamously did inappropriate. Yes, I did hear about John Barrowman. I also used to like John Barrowman as well. I used to watch him on Arrow and stuff like that, and I was, I thought he was really good. But after reading this about, apparently he used to flash his penis to the female people that he used to work with. That's the allegation anyway. And unfortunately, because he was a gay man, they kind of think that's okay. Because, well, it's all right because I'm gay anyway. But no, doesn't really make much difference. Yeah, if you're gay, straight, if you're getting your dick out and waving it at females, it really doesn't matter whether you're gay. This, of course, is the Philip Schofield effect. This is exactly what Philip's been saying about. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that I was grooming a boy from 10 years old because I'm gay anyway. So this has got to stop. This has really got to stop. You can't keep using the gay card and saying it doesn't matter because we're the same sex. No. The law is you can't have sex with a minor. It doesn't matter whether they're male, female, or an elephant. Mind you, good luck trying to stick your wiener inside an elephant. I'll tell you that. Yes, good luck with that one. But that's what the law states. The law states you can't do it with a minor. It doesn't matter what sex they are. You cannot do it. So you can't get away with it by saying it doesn't matter because I'm gay. No, makes no difference. The law is the law. And in this country, I think it's 16. Yes. Oh, unbelievable. Edward Hunter and Noel Clarke, allegedly. Yes. Oh, yes, Noel Clarke. Yeah, another one. It's like an epidemic, isn't it? Really, of like people, famous people and people in influence. So another reason why I say about like big F1 YouTubers, don't treat them like gods. Don't put them up on a high pedestal because you don't know what they're like in real life. Everything they do on YouTube is just an act. It's a complete performance that they do on YouTube. You've got no idea what they're like behind the scenes, so don't big them up and just say big. If you enjoy them and you watch them and you like their stuff, fair enough, go watch it. But don't treat them like gods. No one should be treated like a god. Doesn't matter who they are. Don't treat them like it because, as I say, you have no idea what the real person is like. No idea at all. Edward says, I also feel like stories like this are the reason we don't have any female commentators. Well, yeah. I did see another video with Nichols, and he was going around in these tiny little electric cars, and there was Nikki Shields. That's right, it was the Formula E. Nikki Shields was there as well. She didn't go in the electric car with Nichols. That was a little bit telling to me. I was like, why didn't she? She went in one of the Formula E drivers, and Nichols went with one of the other Formula E drivers, and I just thought, that's a little bit telling to me. Yeah, did she not feel safe and went, no, I'll go with this one? Yeah. And that was, I think, a few years ago now. Anyway, the video's on YouTube. They were going in these little electric cars, these little tiny cars. See if you can find it on YouTube. Just type in Jack Nicholls on YouTube. There's a big long list of about 12 videos, and it'll probably be there. Nikki Shields was there as well. And as I say, she didn't go in the car with him. See, there's also something to be said, like Philip Schofield. Rumours, there could have been rumours about Jack for years, but of course until nothing's proven, then nothing can be done. But rumours could have spread, and those rumours could have spread around, the females who work in the industry, and they would have said, be careful of Nicholls, he could be a wrong one, So that's just my theory anyway. Prime says, and unrelated to but Philip Schofield, I keep hearing about him. They say he came out in 2020 so he could gain support and the public would keep quiet about his affair. Yes, I do agree. That coming out was a complete and utter farce. Complete and utter farce. I'll tell you why he came out. Because he'd probably just... I'm going to be crude for a moment. He probably just dipped his wig in that McGreevy or whatever it was the night before. Yeah, couldn't stand the guilt anymore because obviously he was still married to his wife and 2 kids, don't forget. Couldn't stand the guilt anymore. It was like eating him up inside, and thought, no, I must atone, I must do something. So he thought, oh, I know, I'll come out on national TV and then everything will be fine and I'll be able to keep dipping my wig in McGreevy as many times as I want to, even though he was probably underage, allegedly, and everything will be fine. So it's a complete farce. Edward says, well, with Schofield, there was a whole child grooming thing, not just... Yeah, there was. I mean, he made friends with him on Twitter at 10 years old. Who the hell? He was 50... I'm just trying to go back. He was 56 years old. Something like that, anyway. 53 years old. 53 years old, and he's making friends on Twitter with a 10-year-old. Who in their right mind does that? Seriously, who does that? No, that's just very, very weird. Very weird. Formula E is now going to be ruined. Can't watch old races without hearing Jack's voice and feeling nothing but disgust and disappointment. Yep. So he's ruined not only his own reputation, but the reputation now of Formula E, for past races as well. So well done, Jack. Did you know Jack Sean's commentary on a game or something and he sent it to Ben Edwards and that's how he got into motorsport? Oh, I didn't know that. No. I think we can't change the past. Sort of art versus art, the artist situation. True. I wonder if Alonso will still be in F1 when Aston Martin Honda becomes a thing in 2026. Well, the way the old guy's going, quite possibly, because he is doing very well for an old geezer in his 40s. Yes, who everyone thought had left the sport and was never coming back. I think even he thought he'd never coming back, but there he is, back again. Well, Red Bull Ford going back to the early Sauber days, 95, 96. Yes, indeed. It's amazing how things go full circle, isn't it? But there you go. I think Verstappen said he was pissed that Honda left and then came back a year and a half later and signed a deal with Aston. They'd have struck the Honda deal otherwise. Yes, I can understand that. Brad Pitt, when he was at Austin last year, he pissed off massively, but the women who ignored Martin Brundle in Austin 2021 seriously pissed me off. I remember ranting about them on the show, yes. Good thing ITV don't have F1 back. I still fear at the fault of adverts during Silverstone. Oh, yes. Was it that Silverstone race when they had the advert break three laps from the end? Was it that one? Unbelievable. And then that to rewind the last minute while the adverts were on because something really exciting happened and they had to oh, God. That was a bad day for ITV, that was. Usually it's just porn bots pretending to be human so they can make you click a link that takes you to a virus. Yeah, that's true. Edward says, oh God, it's not Aaron Gilliard. Yes, it is. That's the chappie. Yes, that's the chappie. Aaron Gilliard. Yes. Oh my God. did we have some confrontations back in the day. Seriously. Yeah, and it was all about my treatment of women. I was a sexist, dinosaur, and I had no clue how to treat women properly. That was his whole argument. And there he is, casually sending naked dick pics to 14-year-old girls. Of course, unbeknown to me. Oh, I'll tell you what. I just wish I could have the opportunity of sending him a message. I just wish. But the moment that story broke, he deleted his Twitter. He got rid of his YouTube. In fact, I tried to leave a message on his YouTube, but I think he had the comments turned off or whatever, because he was still on for a couple of weeks, because he was hoping that he could resurrect his career, but it never happened. But yeah, oh my God. But and he sent me a Forrest Gump gif to imply that I was stupid. And I just looking back on that, it just makes me laugh. That he was doing that, and he had the audacity, to call me out for having no respect for women, and yet there he is, casually sending off naked dick pics. No, don't forget, let's get it right, to 14-year-old girls. Yes, let's put that into perspective. 14-year-old girls. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yes, that was the man. Thanks for reminding me. Aaron Gilliard, yes. We had some confrontations in the day. That was San Marino 2005, says Scott. Man, he really came across as the biggest hypocrite. Yes, he really did. But people like that use that as a smokescreen to cover up their own activities, what they're doing. Yeah, so they'll say things like that. They'll really call the sort of the card of being respectful for women. They'll come and say that to use that as a smokescreen to cover up exactly what they're doing underneath. Yeah, like as I say, sending dick pics to 14-year-old girls, but they got this smokescreen on the stop saying, "Oh no, I respect women." He did YouTube videos about women in motorsport and stuff like that. He did interviews with a couple of, I think it was Formula 3 female drivers or something like that. Anyway, I remember that on his YouTube. He did interviews with women. And he shouldn't have. Well, luckily it was done over like a Zoom call or whatever, so he wasn't actually there because these women were out doing their races or whatever, so he wasn't actually with them. But even though he should never have been, he should never have even been on the same conversation as talking to any of them whatsoever, and yet there he was, Mr. Puritanical himself, coming at me for being disrespectful to women. Unbelievable. The hypocrisy is just it's just outrageous. I was actually in a Discord with him. He always seemed a little weird and didn't talk much, kind of creepy. Yes, he was. Apparently he changed his name and is still within the F1 circle. Yeah, I understand he has changed his name, and I do know that he's still in the F1 circle, which is even more creepy if you think about it, that he's someone else, but he's still around, and he's still got the opportunity to be around women as well. It's just, no. I just wish I could send a message to him, but as I say, I can't because he deleted everything. But I just wish I could. Say, "Oi, Chumby." It's just unbelievable. Really was. But I say, we went back and forth on Twitter for about a good year, and some really, really, nasty exchanges as well. Really was. It was getting quite heated in the end. I even got to the point of saying, I'm gonna block you because this is getting out of hand, and I never block anyone, unless they're personally offensive. I really don't block anyone, but it was getting to that point, and we were really going at it. And then of course that story broke, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. But yes, it's true. I do remember he sent one to Sophie, I think, as well, because that was the first one she called out, I think, and she showed the picture, and it's obviously she'd pixelated out the thing, but you could clearly see that he was in a picture spread out, all the way down one side, and then there was the pixelated bit in the middle, which was obviously him showing his doodah, and there you go. And he'd sent that to a 14-year-old. Crazy, absolutely crazy. But there you go. But Jim Ross said, sorry, the next race in Spain. People rag on ITV, but without them, we would have the grid walk, dedicated qualifying coverage, CGI, good graphics. That's true. That's true. They did innovate at the start. They just sort of lost it towards the end, but they did do well at the start. Very well indeed. Anyway, I've been waffling on now for 1 hour and 49 minutes. Oh my God. Once again, I was only going to be on for an hour. I said, I'll just do a quick hour and I'll be off. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, everyone. You have been awesome as always. I hope there have been a few insights that you're happy with. Enjoy the Grand Prix in Spain at the weekend. And yeah, thanks to everyone in the chat. Edward Hunter, thanks for joining us. Helium Trophy, thanks, sir, for being in the chat as well. Scott Barnes was in there. We had Plynel Plessy, of course. Just hopefully this will scroll up far enough so I can see. Scott Barnes was in there. Matthew 7657. Thank all the messages. Wow. Will F1 Gaming. The Milk Guzzler was in there as well. Thanks so much for all these messages. This is just absolutely amazing for me. Absolutely amazing to get all these messages. I just, thank you from the bottom of my heart, because, it's great. As you know, I do YouTube for the interaction. I don't do it for any other reason. And the interaction with you guys is just epic. I just love to talk about, all this stuff. And, especially we've had a lot to talk about with what's happened with Jack. So thanks for that as well. Plynel Plessy, Scott Barnes. I've probably said some of you already. Edward, still scrolling. Edward, Plynel Plessy, Scott, Will F1. Matthew 7657. If I've forgotten you. If I've forgotten you. Anyway. There you go. Thanks everyone for watching. Thank you, Edward, as well. It has been interesting to hear your thoughts. See you around. Yes, thank you, mate. And you. Take care, everyone. And I'll see you for the next video. See you later. Bye-bye.